They keep telling you you're lazy, don't they? You've started to believe it yourself, that you're unmotivated, unproductive, and incapable of real change. But deep down, if you're honest, you know that's not the full truth. You're not lazy. You're scared. Scared of what happens if you actually try. Scared of what happens if you give it your all and still fail. Scared of how your life would change if you became who you were meant to be. Because power demands responsibility. Power demands transformation. It demands that you stop hiding, stop blaming, and start rising. And that's terrifying. Laziness is a shield, a story we tell ourselves to stay small. It's easier to say, "I'm tired," than to say, "I'm terrified." But that fear is a signal. It means greatness is calling. And the closer you get to it, the louder your excuses become. Your mind isn't broken. It's protecting you from growth, because growth means death to your old self, and part of you is still clinging to who you were. That's not laziness, that's fear. But now it's time to confront it. You don't lack energy. You waste it on overthinking, on worrying what people will think if you change, on imagining failure before you've even begun. You exhaust yourself running mental simulations of all the things that could go wrong, and then you collapse and call it laziness. But really, you're drained by fear, not by effort. You spend so much time thinking about your potential that you forget to chase it. You scroll, you binge, you distract, not because you don't care, but because deep down, you care too much. You're afraid of waking up to your power, because then you'd have to face the pressure of rising. You'd have to admit that your excuses were lies, that your limits were self-imposed, that your comfort was a prison. And that truth is hard to face. It's easier to keep calling yourself lazy than to admit you've been hiding. But you weren't born to hide. You weren't made for mediocrity. The discomfort you feel isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof that your spirit is suffocating in the shallow life you've settled for. And that pressure inside you, that's not stress. That's potential trying to break free. Your real fear isn't failure. It's visibility. It's being seen. Because if you rise, people will notice. If you change, people might criticize. If you become powerful, you might outgrow the life you've built. That's terrifying, isn't it? To realize you're one bold decision away from becoming someone entirely new. And so you hesitate, you self-sabotage, you delay, you retreat into distractions that feel familiar, not because they fulfill you, but because they don't challenge you. Because power comes with pressure, and pressure demands courage. It demands that you become responsible for your energy, your habits, your future, and that weight feels too heavy some days. So you choose comfort, you choose soft lies over hard truths. But every time you do, a part of you dies a little. Because you know there's more in you. You've always known, and it's not laziness that's keeping it trapped. It's fear. Fear that you might finally become everything they said you couldn't. And that would change everything. You're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because you're scared to be strong. You've tasted moments of discipline, glimpses of potential, and then pulled back because that power felt unfamiliar. You didn't know what to do with it. You started to rise, then questioned your worth. You made progress, then convinced yourself you didn't deserve it. That's not laziness. That's a trauma response. That's a mind trained to expect rejection, failure, or disappointment. So now, every time success comes close, you flinch. You hide behind your phone, behind food, behind sleep, behind the identity you've created as someone who just can't. But the truth is, you can. You always could. You're just terrified of the responsibility that comes with it. You're not lazy. You're a powerhouse in hiding, and it's time to stop running from yourself. Every day you belay your potential, you feed your fear. Every moment you retreat into the illusion of laziness, you rob yourself of a life that could be breathtaking. And I get it. It's hard to chase a version of yourself you've never met. It's hard to believe in a future you've never seen. But that future is waiting. And it doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to show up, messy, flawed, afraid, but present, ready, hungry. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop protecting your fears. You need to stop worshiping comfort like it's your savior. Because comfort has become your cage. It's kept you still when you were meant to move. It's kept you small when you were meant to lead. And now you're feeling the ache of that stillness, that quiet voice inside you, the one begging for more. That's not a whisper of laziness. That's a scream for purpose. Listen to it. Every time you say, "I'm lazy," you rewrite your story as if it's permanent. But stories can be edited. They can be rewritten, reborn. You don't have to live in the identity that fear created for you. You can burn it down. You can become something else. Someone stronger, someone unshakable. But you have to be willing to let go of the lie that you're not capable. You have to accept that power lives in discomfort, in discipline, in doing the hard thing when your entire body begs for ease. And you're capable of that. You've just forgotten. Or maybe you were never told. But let me tell you now, your power is real, and it's waiting for you on the other side of everything you're avoiding. So don't wait for the fear to vanish. Walk through it anyway. The world doesn't benefit from you playing small. It doesn't gain anything when you dim your light. You were given this life, this voice, this body for a reason. And burying it under labels like lazy is not just false. It's a disservice to everything you could become. You owe it to yourself to stop shrinking, to stop hiding, to stop choosing the easy way out. Your power isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It's steady, patient, waiting for you to finally step into it. And when you do, the excuses will fall away. The doubt will fade, not because it disappears, but because you'll stop feeding it. You'll stop giving fear the steering wheel. You'll start choosing actions over avoidance, growth over guilt, progress over perfection. And in that moment, everything will change. You weren't born to be ordinary. You weren't built to settle. The heaviness you feel isn't depression. It's the weight of your unlived potential. That's why rest doesn't heal it. That's why scrolling doesn't cure it. Because it's not your body that's tired. It's your soul that's screaming for more. For movement, for discipline, for direction. The cure to your laziness isn't more leisure. It's purpose, it's clarity, it's choosing the path that scares you, because that's the one that leads to power. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to begin. Take the first uncomfortable step, build momentum in silence, let the world think what it wants. This is your story now, and the only thing that's ever stood in your way is your fear of who you might become if you finally owned your power. So stop lying to yourself. Stop calling it laziness when it's actually resistance. Stop pretending you're not capable when you've barely tried. You don't need another plan, another book, another excuse. You need a decision to no longer run, to no longer hide, to no longer sleep on the life that's calling you. That voice inside, the one you keep silencing. It's not noise, it's your future, and it's begging you to wake up. So get up, stand up, show up. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be done letting fear win. And when you finally stop calling yourself lazy, when you finally look in the mirror and see the warrior beneath the worry, the power beneath the procrastination, you'll realize you were never weak. You were just scared. Scared of being seen. Scared of failing. Scared of becoming the version of you that can't be ignored anymore. But now you're done hiding. Now you rise.